do it again. Our future Rush chairman just came in, so he's ready to go. The angel of the class of '61, Rich Bradley.
The Bradleyosaurus, the dinosaur. Well, you know, I look around here and it's like preaching to the choir about what fraternities have been and where they've progressed to. One thing that hasn't been brought up, and I think that some of you probably know, but the state laws in Pennsylvania are such that they don't apply to the way we operate. If you are in any way knowing that there's alcohol being served to an underage person, whether you're on the Alumni Association board, whether you're the president of the house, whether you're, as Tom is, part of the university, and you know that, you're criminally liable, and you have no protection from of your assets. All right? So the whole dynamics have changed. Now, our house, Sigma Chi, went through the process of being thrown off. I'm not sure that the crime fit the punishment, or the punishment fit the crime. But, and that's, I think, where I'm going to end up in this whole discussion at this point. Because from what Tom said, everything's fixed.
I wouldn't say that completely. We're getting better.
The only
I wasn't here when we got
the only thing is,
went, so.
from the standpoint of policies and procedures, it's fixed. From the standpoint of dealing with college kids, it's not fixed, and it never will be fixed, because when my kids went to college and in high school, drinking age was 18 in New Jersey, and our kids drank at home, and they drank at the end of high school, and they drank in college. I certainly hope that Lehigh supports the effort of college presidents to lower the drinking age to 18.
Many of us do. I mean, most university administrators will tell you that the drinking age being 18 would solve a lot of our problems, allow us to educate students on all that. So yes, if you talk to Vice Provost Smead, myself, anyone, I think we would say yes.
I think from our perspective, from Sigma Chi's perspective, and Joe King's been brought up, and he was certainly the guy that made it happen, that we were able to recolonize and reestablish Sigma Chi on the campus.
A little louder, please.
Certainly.
We can't have you trouble hearing.
I'll turn around.
Thank you.
So when we finally got from lifetime ban to lesser ban to where we could actually start to reestablish the fraternity on the campus, go through the rushing process, everything from that standpoint was always wondering what was going to be next that you could do. My suggestion would be this. First of all, the university says you're banned for life. Then, oh, well, we're going to be kind. We're going to let you be back in 10 years. And then, oh, we're going to be let you come back in 5 years. Well, I think that there should be an established policy whereby 2 years of kids that are running a fraternity jeopardize, as you said, 100 years of alumni and tradition and everything else. I think it should be that you have certain benchmarks. You're off of here for 10 years if you do nothing. You want to come back in 10 years? Fine. Get your alumni together, and that'll do it. Okay? If you want to be back here in 5 years, you have to meet this criteria. If you want to start back here in 3 years, you have to meet even more stringent criteria. It should be laid out exactly what it is. You'd have a better chance in criminal court down in Bethlehem than you do here on the campus for the violations. I think that's wrong. I mean, our experience, and my own personal experience, was I was on our fraternity board for a number of years. I went to a party after a football game. I said to the president of the house, I said, that kid's not 21. No, but we know how to get around the... I said, you know what you just told me? You made me a conspirator to allowing a person under 21 years of age to drink. I said, I am now criminally liable. You'll have my letter of resignation. I'll always work for you. I'll always help you, but I'm not going to put all my assets at risk just because you guys think you're going to outsmart something that happens with it. I said, you know, oh, he said, we can take care of it. I said, no, you can't. I said, somebody gets drunk, smashes a bottle over somebody's head, they go to the hospital, the police are going to take 30 of you guys and divide you up and say, you expect to get out of Lehigh in 2 years? Maybe you ought to tell us where you got the beer and where, da-da-da-da. I said, they'll break you. You can't beat it. You can't beat the system. Well, they're kids. We all thought we could beat the system too, and we pretty much did, but the system was different. I mean, we had no women on campus. I mean, no women matriculating on campus. But you got that, didn't you? But seriously, the rules were such that there were no rules because people, unless you got your name in the Bethlehem Globe Times on the criminal docket, you weren't going to hear much from the university. Well, it's a different time and a different place, and that can't happen anymore. But I really firmly believe that the university should have a system that's clear to all the fraternities, sororities, that if you're found that you've done something that requires you to be thrown off and your national association takes you off too, there should be a process that allows people to get it back, because what happens after 2 years, there's a fraternity and there's only one guy here from that fraternity. The other guys won't come back here to our 50th reunion. They agreed. They are so angry with the university. They didn't cause this problem. So I'm missing a whole bunch of guys that I liked and I'd love to see. They're not here. Only Larry Moyer's here. Okay? Okay. All right.
Rich will be here all weekend. So.
No, I one last thing I want to say. It's not just the fact that we don't get to see these guys. They're not supporting the university. They're not supporting the university from the standpoint of how they talk about the university, and they're not supporting it financially. And I think that's a sad thing, because many people have gone through here on scholarships and benefited from their experience. I mean, I was house chairman. I was also social chairman for 2 years. Big surprise, right? But my point is that, Tom, you really got to get it where people get back in the mode of feeling that they're going to get back, as opposed to you're off for a lifetime. You're off for 10 years. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think there's a group that actually worked on that with Greek Alumni Council that actually brought it down to 5 years. There's no more 10-year ban. Here's the process, and here's how we do it. So we're getting there. We're I think absolutely getting there. Bob will talk about that as well. And you know, I think it has. I'm not sure when Sigma Chi did get kicked off campus, what year that was. I think but we're evolving and changing, I think, and we're trying to figure that out better, because we do know and recognize the connection is more than just the current students.
One last thing. One of the reasons that the undergraduates lost faith in the university was the FMA. Hugely overcharged for their services that they were contracting for. I even felt that somebody was getting some kickbacks from contractors and things like that kind. totally lost any confidence on the part of the undergraduates that they were getting a fair shake from the FMA and the university. And that led to a real decline
And
in kind of
just
control.
so folks know, the FMA, Fraternity Management Association, is sort of a co-op program for ordering goods and things like that. They're actually have never been part of the university. They've always been a separate group. We've done billing for them in the past, but we've decided it's not, because of concerns about cost, it's not in our best interest to be billing with them anymore. So we don't do any billing for them. They have to work through their own billing agents and do all that now, because we have had concerns.
Dave's got his
about
hook out.
that. Yeah.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you,
Sorry.
Kurt. Thank you, Tom. Please send any questions or communicate directly with any of these guys.
Pete, could I have just a couple minutes?
I don't know, Dave. What do you, we're already over our time.
Why don't we take the questions offline and try to keep this?
No, I wanted to make just a few minutes.
Yep, what's that?
I just wanted to speak for a few minutes if I could.
Okay.
Use the mic, please. Thank you, just a couple minutes. I'm Ken Weaver, class of '61, and a very unhappy Lehigh alumnus. Theta Delta, we're one of many chapters that was tossed off, but I wanted to talk about something that's a little different from what's been discussed so far. We've talked about what Lehigh's done and the efforts, but what I think you have to look at is what the results are. And when we were here, there were 30 fraternity houses at Lehigh. Today there are 15 fraternity houses. So even though they've done a lot of efforts, there are 15 houses. There are some non-residential additional fraternities, but there are 15 fraternity houses. So we've lost half of the houses. And how did that happen? It happened by a technique called a quit claim deed. What happened with us was we built the house in 1919. In 1963, 4, 5, we put a big addition on the house. In order to finance that, Lehigh came to us and said, if you will sign the house over to Lehigh for $1, you will be able to deduct donations and make them tax-free. The alumni that signed that dealt with the university in good faith and felt that the university told them that there would still be a Theta Delta house and they would not have any problems with that. It was kind of a gimmick. 30 years later, actually 40 years later, the people that had agreed to that were gone. The bureaucrats had taken over. They view these houses not as fraternity houses, not as a Sigma Chi or Delta Tau Delta or Theta Delta house that was built, that was designed, financed, built, and occupied for 60, in our case 80 years. They look at it they look at it as another dorm. It's unbelievable.
Okay, Ed, thank you.
The concern, I'm not quite done. No, I really did. I talked to Pete and all about, we talked about guys won't come back. Most of our Theta Deltas won't come back. Al's here, Chuck's here. They won't give. I won't give. And what I'm asking is for any Greeks in the audience, please don't give until the university changes its policy of taking the houses and not restoring them. I do not disagree with if undergraduates break the rules, they should be punished. I do not agree that the alumni should be punished. Take the chapter offline, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. When they meet the requirements to come back, give us back our house. It's not a dorm. That's the poison policy that needs to be changed. The houses that belong to those fraternities go back to those fraternities. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to all. In fairness,